This is the setup for the Battle of Dorylaeum. The situation is that the Crusader player was traveling in this direction when he saw a huge number of enemy mounted archers that were advancing against him, and he thought, wait a second, is that an ambush by any chance? Yes, that was an ambush. So before the game starts, the Crusader player will deploy his infantry units in a camp here, in a defensive camp. There are different ways in which units can be deployed in here, as long as they are all within 3 axes from that central hex here. Then the Crusader player also has these 2 groups of knights that will probably try to defend the infantry camp. You also have some units that belong to Peter the Hermit, but don't count on them giving too large a contribution to the battle. They're just really weak. And then you have this monster army here. Now, these mounted archers are not that powerful per se. They have a penalty when they're firing at the enemy because they're firing while riding. They have another penalty when they're firing at knights, which is what they will try to do pretty often in this battle. But at the same time, there are just so many of them. It is insane. If they just keep firing at their target, sooner or later, just the sheer number of arrows that they fire will do some damage, and in the long run, probably some serious damage. Luckily enough, there are reinforcements on their way. The Crusader player receives a good number of reinforcements, and these units are of very good quality. However, the Crusader player does not know exactly when these reinforcements are finally going to be able to join the battle. So at the beginning of each free activation, the Crusader player will roll a die, and depending on the result, he may be able to start bringing in reinforcements. So during the first phase of the game, the Crusader player will be in a defensive position. He really has to survive until the reinforcements arrive. Once the reinforcements start arriving, then he finally has a good chance of fighting back and winning the battle. This is the map and the setup for the Battle of Antioch. Important features on the map are the city itself and the walls of the city, represented by that dark line there. Units can move across that wall only by using the gate, which is located here. The gate is connected to a bridge, which is one of the only 2 points where units can also move across this river. The other point is a small bridge of boats here. As you can see, there aren't many units on the map at the beginning of the game. There's only a command of Crusaders that just move out of the city, and a small number of Turkish mounted archers. But don't be fooled by this. There will be many units once the battle starts. In fact, the Turkish player can bring in quite a large number of reinforcements by activating that leader there. There's again quite a large number of units, and they are not that bad. There are a lot of mounted archers, a lot of medium cavalry. Then there's also a smaller group of Turkish units here, led by Suleiman, that will enter the game much closer to the gates of Antioch, so they will be quite a nuisance to the Crusaders that are trying to come out of the city, as opposed to those reinforcements that maybe they will move straight in this direction, maybe they will try a little bit of a flank in here, maybe trying to envelop the Crusaders as they come out of the city. The Crusader player also has units that he can bring in as reinforcements, but there are more limitations. The main one is that these 3 commands can be brought in only in the order in which you see them here. That is, this one first, then this one, then this one. Also, having to go through the gate and then through the bridge is quite a problem and can create quite a bottleneck. So there may be quite a crowd around Antioch just trying to spread as much as possible before the Turkish reinforcements start pushing them back against the river and against the city. This is the map and the setup for the Battle of Ascalon. Here you have 3 commands of pretty good Crusader units that are attacking the Muslim camp, and the Muslim camp was caught by surprise. All they were able to put together is this line here of pikemen, regular archers, archers with flails, which are interesting units, but still no match for the Christian knights. And this line here is really all that stands between the Crusaders and the Muslim camp. Here you have a small group of medium cavalry that is ready to attack, but there's not many of them. They will probably just try to outflank the Christian army and to delay that army for as long as possible, because here's the problem. In the Muslim camp to represent the fact that historically these units were caught unaware, they really were caught by surprise by the attack. Then you have a line of medium cavalry that starts completely disordered, so the Muslim player will have to spend activation just to rally them if he wants to have any chance of having them doing anything of consequence during the battle. This other line here of heavy cavalry, even worse, not only are they disordered at start, but they're also unalerted. That means they haven't figured out there's a battle going on. The Muslim player has to spend an activation just to tell them, to let them know. Then at that point, you can spend activations to use them regularly. Again, probably the first activation you will want to use is to rally them. Then you can send them into battle, so it really takes a while before they're all ready to fight. So by the time that he has everybody ready to fight and to join the battle, maybe not many of these units here will still be on the map. Maybe at that point will have been exterminated by the Christian attack. So this is a battle that, unless the players decide to play by using the balancing options that the rulebook gives you, then it's going to be very hard for the Muslim player to win. This is the Battle of Harran. The map, as you can see, doesn't have many distinctive features, just a stream there in the middle and an elevation here. And from a certain point of view, this is a very emblematic battle, emblematic of the game Infidel in general, because it really shows you what different types of units can do. You have on the Muslim side a large number of mounted archers, and then you also have other cavalry units, and then you have on the Crusader side a mix of very tough knights and infantry. Also, it is a pretty straightforward battle. There are no reinforcements that are coming in later. Everybody's right on the map at the beginning, so you do not have to take that into account. And of all the battles that I've played so far in Infidel, this is definitely the one that favors the Muslim player the most, because the advantage in terms of numbers that the Muslim side has is simply immense. There are just so many of them. Again, these mounted archers are not that powerful per se, but when they're throwing so many arrows at the enemies, they are bound to do some damage. Even the toughest knights are going to suffer after a while. Another factor is command. The Muslim army is divided in only 3 commands. That means that every time that a commander activates on that side, there's going to be a huge number of units that are going to move, especially when this commander here activates, and he can activate all of these people more or less until up to there. On the other hand, these 2 groups of crusaders, which are already disadvantaged from the point of view of sheer numbers, are divided in 4 commands. You have a commander for this line of knights here, another commander for these 2 lines of infantry, a commander here for this line of knights, another commander here for this line of infantry. That means that you have the crusader player activating and moving maybe 8, 9 units, and then you have a huge horde of enemies moving around, throwing arrows, running everywhere, trying to steal your standard. They can just do a lot. The crusader player may feel powerless most of the time. This is the Battle of Montgisard. It is played on the same map that you use for the Battle of Harran. However, here you ignore the features that are printed on the map. Every hex on this map is assumed to be clear terrain. Here is the setup of the battle, and no, I'm not drunk and there's no mistake. In this battle you have 10 Crusader units, and that is it, that are going to fight against 80 Muslim units, 80 between the ones that are already on the map and the ones that are scheduled to enter later as reinforcements. And historically, this is a battle that the Crusaders won. It was a triumph. How is that possible? Well, actually, you will see here that in that battle, the Muslim units entered the fight when they were already tired and disorganized from the journey that they took to reach the site of the battle. And this is modeled here by the fact that every Muslim unit enters the game already in a disorganized status, so the Muslim player will have to spend activations just to rally them and get them ready to enter the fight. Also, here there are a couple of rules that will make things easier for the Crusader player. The Crusader player really has some good commanders, especially this one, Baldwin, very good activation rating. He's an overall commander, so he can lend a bonus to this other commander here. Charismatic leader, another bonus here for the unit he's stacked with. The knights have a special rule in this battle that allows them to be able to countercharge more effectively. The Templars don't even need to roll to countercharge, they just countercharge automatically. But I would really say that the main advantage is just to have good commanding ratings and to be able to go first. In fact, during the first turn, the Crusader player may be able to launch a series of charges against this command here, which really is the most dangerous because it is the largest one. If the Muslim player manages to rally all these people, then the Crusader player may be in trouble. But during the first turn, the first activation, most likely the charges will cause a lot of damage here. There will be maybe, probably I would say, multiple attacks, one after the other. So really the Crusader player may be able to disrupt this group pretty badly with units eliminated, units that are retired. So as long as the Crusader player manages to keep pressure on the Muslim player to just attack one group after the other, by the time a group is rallied and ready to fight, then the Crusader player attacks another one. As long as he keeps that momentum, well, he's very likely to be able to win the game and to reproduce the historical result. This is the map and the setup for the Battle of Arsuf. Here you have the Crusader army that is marching toward Jerusalem, and in fact they're trying to exit the map from that area there, and they're trying to avoid direct confrontation with the enemy. But then you have this large number of Muslim units here with the usual large number of mounted archers, and they are going to try and provoke the Crusaders into entering combat with them. This battle is recommended for skilled players because it has several concepts that other battles don't have, and it does play differently from other battles. For example, victory is determined not on flight points, but based on victory points, and the Crusader player will score victory points for exiting units from that area of the map and for eliminating enemy units, and the Muslim player that is trying to stop the Crusader army will score points for eliminating Crusader units, and especially particularly profitable in terms of victory points are the wagon units that are here in the rear of the army. Also, there are special rules for the standard of the Crusaders that is represented by the Carroccio, but it's complicated, I won't go there. Another interesting thing, though, that I think I can explore here is command. As you can see, there are units of several colors all mixed together, because here command does not work in the usual way. These three leaders do not have a specific command. They can activate any unit that is within their range, as long as during activation they're activating only infantry or only knights. So you can you have some flexibility there. Then you have this other guy here that can activate the wagons and the Frank infantry here in the back, and then you have the Templars that, oh, you know them, they don't answer to anybody. So these small groups of Templars, they just follow their own leaders. So actually there is a lot of, I wouldn't say confusion, but different ways of command that are going to be at work at the same time in the Crusader army. So the Crusader player really needs to be familiar with the mechanics of the game if he wants to be able to lead those guys effectively. The mounted archers of the Muslim player are even weaker than usual. There are special rules and restrictions. They cannot retreat before battle if a knight unit is charging them, for example. Also, they have a penalty when they are throwing arrows at the enemies, and you know that they're not that good usually. You add that thing, then it really becomes hard for them to hit at all. And then you have Saladin there that has a pretty interesting role in this battle. He doesn't have a command, but he's still the overall commander of the army, so he can lend a bonus in terms of activation rating to the leaders that are within his range. Also, he can activate once every turn, so during the battle he's going to run around, probably trying to get close to the next leader that the Muslim player is planning to activate, so that he can lend the bonus to that leader, and then he runs to the next one. So he's going to be quite busy. And this is overall a good battle. The Crusader player, even though it may not look like it in terms of sheer numbers, still is favored in this battle just because his units are so much stronger than the enemy units. At the same time, the Crusader player needs to play well, to use these commands well. He needs to be able to protect these wagons here. That would give a ton of points to the Muslim player if he starts destroying them. But again, it will take resources and skills to be able to defend them. Actually, one of the biggest decisions is how to divide the units between the ones that will stay behind and fight against the enemies and the other ones that will try to sneak out of the map in the meanwhile. So there's still a lot of decisions to be made, challenges to be faced. I really enjoy this battle.